So what happens when AI gets involved in designing an iron? Let's find out. Back at the mcgolfshop, Jim McCleary, most certified award club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club repairs, club fittings, and club reviews. This being a club review. If you would, like, subscribe, and that way you get more of these videos when they drop. All right, so AI, right? That's been kind of the big thing for Callaway, right? It's Callaway. And it's a real big thing in their drivers, but this is an iron review. And keep in mind now, we're going to start it off like this. It's a Clubmaker Club Fitter review, right? So there's going to be a lot of detail in the numbers, a lot of detail in how it would work for you, not how it fits me, okay? Now, I will show you what happens when I do hit it. However, it's about you, not about me. Now, there are 4 iron models to choose from. There is the standard. There is the Pro. There is the Max. And then there's the Max W. All right? They're all made in the same fashion. AI has designed a face for each and every model of these clubs. And not each and every model, but each and every one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All the way down the set. Why? Well, because each club has a different job. When you're at the upper end of the set, it's more about ball speed, ball go far, ball get out there. Now the idea of, keeping the grid as well. And so you will have your face will be slightly different than if it was at the bottom of the set, who's more controlled trajectories, more controlled spins, more that, instead of like that, and it's more like that, right? So each club has a different job, hence a different face. Every model, every club, they all sport cup face, all right? Cup face, what is that? Well, that's where the face is basically in a shape like this, and it goes on there instead of setting inside here, and it's attached somewhere in this area. And what it does is it allows it to be less penal when you get off onto the toe. So if you had this thing and it was sitting in here, if you got into here and here, down here, here, it would feel really bad, and the performance would be terrible. Now when you get out here, of course it won't be as good as in the middle. However, it will be better than if it was sitting in this area. So it's a very good construction aspect to get you the best iron that you can possibly get. And what else is in here? Well, they have what's called suspended energy core, all right? So what is suspended energy core? Marketing term. Why is it a marketing term? Because it sells like that. So what is a suspended energy core really? Well, it's a chunk of tungsten, and a chunk of very dense tungsten. You get very dense tungsten, it weighs a lot. So when you put it in this neck of the woods, wherever you want to place it, and that placement's going to be different for the different irons, you put it down here, ball goes up, right? We've talked about that in tons of other reviews. Why suspended energy core? Well, because there's a slot in here, and once you put the club together, you put that tungsten in there, and then you inject urethane microspheres. All right, this liquid urethane microsphere, and it wraps itself around the tungsten, and it floats that tungsten piece in that cavity area, hence suspended energy core. And that helps, gets under the center of gravity, gets low, gets under the ball, and makes for higher trajectories. Why do we want that? Because these are strong lofts, right? As we all know, going across the board, all these lofts are getting stronger, and you just don't want to take a 5-iron, stamp a 6 on it, and watch it perform like a 5. You want to be able to pick up a 7-iron, know that it's going to fly like your 7-iron normally does, but it's going to go further because of all the technology that's in the clubs. Now, what's the difference between the 4 different models, right? W Max, right? W Max. It is wider sole, larger offset, and they're not extraordinarily strong lofts, but they're good lofts so the ball can get in the air and you can get the distances. Now, it says W, everybody's going to assume it means for women. there will be some guys out there that will be able to hit this very, very well, all right? And ladies, just the opposite. Just because it says W on it doesn't mean it's necessarily for you. Ladies, go get the fitting. You will be surprised and shocked and amazed, especially the ones that are very athletic, how that is probably not going to fit, all right? Go get fit. Ladies, you will really, I can't express enough how much you would enjoy golf if you went and got fit. All right, the regular Max. Max. The Mavrik Max, and there's the Mavrik Max. All right, large sole, again, lots of offset, a different loft patterns, so you want to make sure you take a look at those. Again, with all the technologies we talked about, and you can see how the cavity's being filled up, and that's a solid part, right? That's a solid part for vibration reduction. The standard is one you're going to see in probably most of the bags, right? Most of the guys are going to hit it, all right? And larger offset or larger top line than, that's a typical Callaway attribute. Not as much offset, not as much. Smaller sole, a little more traditional in look, right? It's not as big as the Max. The Max is basically max forgiveness. Everything you wanted in a club, maxed, right? This is for your average standard golfer, and if it fits, it fits. Now, lofts are strong, right? The lofts are very strong to the point that it's going to have a P, an A, and a G wedge in the set to just get you down to the sandwich. Nobody's apologizing. It's just what it is. Very, very strong. All right, and finally the Pro. All right, for you better golfers out there, you probably really enjoy this. It's got more of a traditional sole size, very little offset on it, and it's got a very tolerable top line. Looks very, very nice. It's condensed. All the edges are round. I really like that on a club. Again, it's a little more packed in there, a lot less cavity-like, but it is very much a big old cavity. And that's the heads. Well, you got to have something to attach the heads, right? And what are the options going to be with those? All right, and why do I do it like this? Because I'm a fitter. I need to show you these different shafts so you have these different options, because it's not just because it says it's in standard like that does not necessarily mean that's for you. And why? Well, I've put in what would be the most forgiving shaft and the most forgiving club in standard, and I've put it into a Pro club for a guy that was a better golfer. Why? Because it fit, right? That's the reason why I'm telling you about these shafts. So let's go over the shafts. Ladies, in the ladies' shafts, all right, it'd be ladies' flex. We'll just deal with flexes. And ladies' flex is the UST Helium, all right, the UST Helium shaft. A very good graphite shaft. It's about a 50 grammer and very stable at the bottom, all right? It's got the middle section is where it does a lot of its kicking. For the average lady golfer, this is going to be one heck of a shaft. The next shaft, and the one again, what we'll probably see in a lot of the clubs, is the Kbs Max 80. All right, and they say it's 80 because it's going to be 80 grams when it's in its finished length. This is a ball get in the air kind of shaft with a softer butt profile and a little firmer tip in the section, but 80 grams, lightweight steel. That seems to be the trend. All right, and for most golfers, that's going to be their thought process. Now, again, that's like I told you, I've put them in guys that are much better golfers because of the way that they release the club. But ladies, you could easily be into this as well. This could fit quite a few golfers depending on how you swing the club. Coming up in my most favorite one, and I hope you guys really consider these, it's a graphite option. Then it's the Catalyst shaft. The Catalyst shaft, again, it's this gray color with the brown burnt orange accents to go with the Mavrik new coloring. And there are a few different weight options. There's a 65 and a 75. All right, and then that floats into, again, one of my faves, in the Mac Daddies, they have an 85, right? So it transitions, and these are really stout shafts, very, very nice. And then one you'll see probably most in the players, or what you'll see in the Pro models, is the Elevate. Now, the Elevate is coming in multiple weight options as well. There's a 95, there's now a 105, There's a 120, all right? So it's covering the whole line. And the idea of the Elevated has the VSS. The VSS is a vibration reduction system. So True Temper has taken some sort of vibration reduction material setup and they shoved it into the hand, about this part of the club. There's VSS and VSS Pro. The VSS, and the difference is just the length of the stuff. The VSS could be this long and the Pro might be that long. And that's really the difference. So those are going to be your 4 basic shafts to choose from. Now there's going to be other options out there, but that's what's option for these. So let's go measure the hitting part of it, because this is from a Clubmaker club fitter's point of view, and we measured all the clubs. So what did we get, right? We have the Standard, we have the Max, we have the Pro, and we have the Max W. So what is it that they're supposed to be? I didn't do the swing weights per se because of the different shafts that you can put in them, and that would take forever. Needless to say, I did check them out, and they were very, 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 very close. They're between a D0, D2, which is what they called out for when you're talking graphite and stuff. So high marks on that one. The Standard is 27 degrees and 62.5 degrees of lie. The Max is 30 degrees and 62.5 degrees of lie. The Pro is 30.5 and 62 degrees of lie, and the W Max is 31.5 and 62.5. That's manufacturer specs. Now, I did measure both right-handed and left-handed, all right? So right-handed, left-handed, what do we do? So I'm looking at my notes. So on the Standard, I got 27 and 62. Pretty close, right? A half a degree, not gonna sweat that one. The Max was 30 and 62. Again, half a degree off on the lie angle. Well done, Callaway, that's 2 for 2. On the Pro, I got 31 and 62, which is basically dead on. This is all the right-handed stuff. And the ladies was 31 and 62, a half a degree off on either one. So a half a degree could be in machine tolerance. So dead solid on in the fitting cart, way to go. Mavrik in the right hand. Now in the left hand, I had a 32 and 62, which is a degree and a half off. So I'm gonna have to do a little bending there, which means mine was a little weaker and we still got it out there. So not bad for the, hey, good props for the Pro if it hit well, right? The Max, I got 30.5 and 61. So on the Max, I got 30.5 and 62. Half a degree again, we're doing all right. And then in the Standard, I got a 28 and a 62. So a degree off. The loft and lie angles are pretty good, right? For demos, they normally I have some sort of, issue with one or the other parameter. This time they're in there pretty good. So props to Callaway. The lengths of them, as far as standard guide lengths, all 37. Now let's keep this in mind. Normally when you see a distance club, they start growing in half-inch increments and they start getting higher, like 37.5 and so on. All the guide lengths were 37, so that's standard 7-iron. So these are all numbers you're going to get in the future, standard 7-iron, which is great in my opinion. So now you're talking about the actual technology working. Now shafts, we did the Catalyst 75, we did the Kbs Max 80, and we did the Elevate 105, and they're all in stiff. So what did we find out? Well, in the Max 80, we knew it was going to be light. It always has been light. It's a butt soft flex in the profile, and it still was. So for those guys having issues bringing a club around, need a lighter weight steel, that's the shaft you're going to really enjoy, particularly if you're smoother. You will really like that shaft. Catalyst 75, kind of surprised to me, but it was a little light. Normally I would see these things right in the middle to lower end of the stiff flex, and mine, using the Standard Mavrik, was just below the stiff range, so a light stiff, we'll call it, right? And then in the Elevate, dead solid on, well done, 105, right in the stiff range, just like it's supposed to be. So none of them were above what they said. They're actually a little bit lower than what they said, so everything should feel fairly smooth when you go to hit them. And the final part is, what we didn't say in the other stuff was the ladies club, man. I tell you what, if you're a lady golfer, you really are going to do well with this club, because it comes with the helium UST helium shaft, which is a very lightweight shaft, but it's a very good shaft, and it looks very, very industrial. So if you don't like the flowery kind of stuff, this is going to be the head for you. So let's go see how we hit them. Okay, we're going to do a twofer here. This is going to be how did the clubs perform and what would I do in a recommendation? Who might these be for, right? So let's get into it. So we go on, what you're going to see is the results of these irons are powered by Flight Scope. I'm using the X3, I'm using Wilson range balls in order to get it out, and we're hitting in the new fitting room. All right, reviewing all four of these. Now, there's no surprise that the Mavrik Standard went the furthest. It was the strongest of the clan by a few degrees, so we certainly were going to see some. So what I did was I wanted to see just how strong versus weight, just for you guys, to see how that would work. So I used the Catalyst 75 in stiff and the Elevate 105 in stiff. And as you can see, we really put that ball out there. We were just shy of 190 carry with a 7-iron using the Catalyst, and right at 180 with the iron shaft, with the Elevate 105. Now, but if you look at the dispersion just a little bit, it looks as if the dispersion got a little bit wide on the one with the Elevate, and that's because I left a big one out there because I really tagged one pretty good. And I just wanted to show you that there was, that it's not all just looks like that, because I hit probably 2 or 3 more shots than what we are showing here, and I took out the couple of the best and couple of the worst, so we have more of an aggregate feel of what was going on. The standard went 187, 190, and went to, and had some good spin, so we went to 190. The one with the 105 was in the same category at 180, 183, which is pretty good. Now next what comes in is my 8-iron. My 8-iron is the Epic with a 105 and an LZ shaft, and it is very strong as well, so this is no surprise for that. So we can just, it was just more information for me in case you guys ask me questions. Now the next two, what do you think when we're talking about there's 1 degree difference between the lofts, right? So how's this going to work out? Well, it turns out that I hit the Pro pretty good. The Pro's has a little less offset on it. Then I was tending to tug things to the right, so a little less offset helps you bring them more towards the away from you. And that's what happened. I hit a really tight pattern with it and got it out there. And for that particular shape, I'm kind of happy for that. Both went 170 carry, 172, 173 total. And we're talking about a 7-iron. That's a pretty healthy 7-iron in my pack. And so it's just a matter of what you need in your game in order to help you get out there, right? And so ladies, there's no W Max in here. They don't make a lefty for me. So you're seeing the landing patterns, you see the distances, and you see how they turned out. I really thought they did pretty good, and I like the shafts as they turned out. The Catalyst shaft I think is going to be very, very good for those wanting a lightweight option. The Elevate's going to be a great steel option for those just normal swingers, and the Kbs Max 80 is going to be a good get the ball up in the air. And I'm still, like, as you guys haven't guessed, I'm still digging the UST and the helium. So how would these things fit, depending on your game? If you just want ball go far and you're not missing left or right anything, obviously it's the standard, right? The standard with the medium amount of sole, medium amount of offset, the stronger loft. Once you got the right lengthwise and all that stuff, that's going to be the club for you. Keep in mind that you're going to have an extra wedge, as we talked, a P, an A, and a G to get you close to the sandwich because of their strength. If you're a hybrid guy, this might be kind of an issue with you because these things are strong. So if you're hitting your 5-iron very well, you could probably do the same thing with your 6. If you add that 5 in there, now you're hitting a club very, very far, and that might run into your lower end hybrid. Something to look at when you get there. Ball go far, standard down the middle, make sure you get the right shaft. Now, if you are not worried about distance and you're more worried about forgiveness and you're just looking to get the ball out there, and let's say you are struggling with one of two things. You're either struggling with your massively thick divots, or you don't want to be stuck, you're playing a fade, then the Mavrik Max is going to be what you're looking for. The Mavrik Max has all of that into account. Big, deep soles, wider, so that they can still get that center of gravity down, has a fairly large offset. So this is a max forgiving club. Now, typically what you're going to like for this is you don't want to, when you get into swing speeds that start getting lower, you don't want to have super strong, because even the way it's going to play, it still won't get all up in the air. So this Max may actually fly better for some people than the standard. That's hence the fitting. Now the Pro model, the flavor du jour for most irons that's going to be popular this year, and you're going to hear it over and over and over and over again, is Player's Distance model. All right, the Player's Distance model is becoming popular in the fact that what's happening is, you're getting better players want to hit it further, like you guys see on TV, but most of that ball go far stuff has a whole lot of offset monster top lines that better players tend not to like. Now they're creating this new category, and you're getting these players looking clubs with the lofts that are stronger. And that's what this Mavrik Pro is all about. It is certainly a smaller profile. It certainly has a smaller top line. It certainly has stronger lofts, and it has very, very little offset. As you can see, it pulled it around. Now I hit this thing pretty good, and I would not consider myself a better player by any shape of the imagination, but I did get through the ball pretty good. If you're not a divot taker, a big divot taker, because this has a smaller sole, although it is rounded, or the conditions that you're playing in are fairly, we'll say, firm, then you're going to really like this club head. And again, you can start at the 5 and it goes down to the A wedge, because the standard is the only one that does that third wedge, and you can get that one. And ladies, although I didn't hit it, I would follow the same train of thought as the Max. All right, so that's what that would work for. It all appears that they're sporting the aligned grip and to help you keep your stuff aligned. And if not, it can be an option to order it if you're doing something in the way of a custom order. So don't forget that part either. So again, guys, make sure you're getting fit. Make sure you get the right clubs underneath of you, and let's see your scores go low.